Hi there, this is Grim. I'm going to show you how to make a super easy, super cheap, and safe cider. In a series of videos I will describe the very basics of fermentation, and at the end describe a cheap and easy method for producing cider on tap that will be about 6.5 to 7% alcohol by volume. Over the course of the videos we will reach this arrangement where you can have sparkling cider on tap. However, we'll start small with small batches that are cheap, easy, and safe. So our first topic, ingredients, both of them. I use 2, apple juice and yeast. Let's do the simple ingredient first, juice. I buy the cheapest apple juice I can find. In my location, Aldi has far and away the best price. Your mileage may vary. Shop around. The juice I use is from concentrate and it has added vitamin C. Neither of these things, to my knowledge, has any negative effect on the process. Now, about the sugar. Oh, sugars. We're going to have to do a bit of math. Check the sugar content. A serving size is 240 milliliters. The total sugars in a serving is 28 grams. So, doing the math, we have 28 grams divided by 240 milliliters times 1,000 milliliters per liter. Milliliters cancel out, so we get grams per liter, and that comes to about 117 grams per liter. It's okay if it's a few grams one way or the other. Read the ingredients on the label. Look for preservatives like nitrates or sulfates. I'm not an opponent of preservatives as such, but they might kill the yeast or inhibit fermentation, so use those at your own peril. In general, if you don't recognize it, don't use it. One last thing about the juice. Experiment later. For your first test batch, just try to see if you can get it to work. Once you've done that, feel free to experiment. Then, once you've got a recipe that comes out just right, you can make a big batch. And with my method, you can do several experimental recipes simultaneously. Try organic juice or juice mixes or maybe an entirely different juice. Perhaps you might want to add some flavoring like cinnamon, clove, or wintergreen, which might be nice if served hot in the winter. So give it a whirl. Go crazy. Okay, on to the second ingredient, yeast. If you have any sort of reaction or allergy to yeast, you probably shouldn't do this. The final product will contain live yeast. Yeast, for those unfamiliar, are a subcategory of the fungus kingdom. There are over 1,500 species, so it's important you choose the best one for the job. So, which yeast should you use and where do you get it? Do not use red yeast. Put the Fleischmann's away. Okay, so which one? I use a yeast called Premier Blanc by a company called Red Star. It used to be called Pasteur Champagne, but the European Union has rules about that now, so it's sort of changed. Its genus and species is Saccharomyces baianus. Oddly, it is not recommended for sparkling wines. It comes in a little foil pouch with about 5 grams of yeast, and it looks like this. Okay, so where do I get this piece of unobtainium? If you are in the USA, hop onto eBay or Amazon and do a search for champagne yeast. It should cost about $1 a packet. Be sure to check shipping costs and times. Also, there might be a brick and mortar homebrew supply store near you. Give them a ring to check that it's in stock before making the trip. Okay, what if you're not in the USA? Shipping Premier Blanc from the USA will cost a fortune, even though it's just a tiny little package. But there are options. First, check to see if there's a local homebrew supply store near you. Failing that, go to the eBay or Amazon or whatever website that is local to your country, for example, ebay.co.uk, and search for champagne yeast. Lalvin EC1118 is almost certainly the same thing. Notice the genus and species are the same as for Premier Blanc, being Saccharomyces bianus. Unfortunately, it cost about £3. Again, watch out for the shipping charges and delivery times. Now, I have never used this, so I don't know what your results will be. One last thing about yeast. Storage. Although yeast can withstand long periods at room temperature, for best results, put the packets in a Ziploc bag and store them in your refrigerator. Very important, do not put them in your freezer. If you put them in your freezer, you will kill the yeast. Okay, enough about ingredients. Alright, so this was the end of our first video. Give me a like or a subscribe. In the future, I will be producing other videos on how you can produce sparkling cider on tap, and also to do small batches. So stay tuned.